Hey guys, so for today's video, it's been a while. But for today's video, I just want to kind of walk through what are the financial apps that I personally use in 2025 and 2024. These are the apps that I use personally. Um, yeah, it might not be the best, but this is what the apps that I use personally. So I will go through the different categories as well. So first up on the savings category, so this is basically how I use my the apps that I use for my savings. GX Bank, I think this is my main primary account now. So every time I get a salary from my Maybank, for example, I just transfer it to this bank account because I think that it's much easy for me to scan QR, transfer. Everything is quite smooth in the app. So that's why I prefer this digital bank as the my primary bank account at the moment. And although the interest rate is not that high, but I think the usability kind of make up for it, right? The second app that I use is actually Versa. So this is also an app that I use for purely savings, not much on investing. So I'm using their money market fund um, that give me like maybe 3.5, 3.6% each returns. uh, and I really like how easy that to manage my cash here. So I just use this app um, as one of my cash parking device. Secondly will be Touch and Go. I think it's fairly simple, right? Touch and Go, they previously they had 9.5k limit, and isn't really um, that attractive for me. But recently they just increased the limit to 20k, so that's why I recently only parked 20,000 in, because like it's so easy, right? To the liquidity is just in out like that. I don't need to wait T plus something to get my money out, and they give me quite a decent 3.56% interest rate on a daily base on annually, but like it's crediting on a daily basis. So versus Versa, maybe Versa is slightly not so good in terms of withdrawals, in terms of time taken to deposit the money, because uh yeah, it's just a money market fund lah basically. And I think the another app that I use mainly is also ASMB fund. So here is where I park some of my long-term money. Recently I think the dividends has been hovering for like 4 to 5 each percent. Hopefully this year can be more than 5% ish, but this is where I kind of park my money locked away, hopefully to be used for renovation in the future, housing renovation in the future. Yeah, so that's basically on the savings category. Moving on. Okay, yeah, this is just the referral section. If you just want to try out Versa Cash and you never heard it before, you can definitely use my referral code over here. And if you make a first deposit of 100 ringgit, you can get 10 ringgit. So that's instant 10% cash back on your deposit. So feel free to use, no obligation here. The link is also down below in the description. So moving on, so the investing category. So I mainly use four apps. It is a lot to some people, but I think these configurations currently make sense for me. So I will explain how I use each app one by one lah, right? So the first app is Interactive Brokers. So this is the app where I kind of buy individual stocks and some of the S&P ETF in this stock. So this represents the majority of my portfolio at the moment, right? Although it's not really regulated in Malaysia, but I think it's regulated all around the world except Malaysia and a few countries. So I really feel that this broker has been there for many years, and I really like how cheap the transaction fee is and how accessible, how many markets they have. Yeah, so that's why I put most of my portfolio in Interactive Broker. So these Interactive Broker kind of houses majority of my US stock. Yeah, so I think this is the main Interactive Broker platform that I use. I might also want to kind of start looking at options trading in using this IBKR as well. Second app is Mumu, right? So I think Mumu has been quite aggressive in their acquisition campaign. So initially, when I started using Mumu, I think it was just a very attractive sign up reward. I get Apple share if I deposit, right? Then after a while, they started to release a lot of features. For example, I can start applying for IPO and also their Cash Plus, right? So to be honest, I don't really use their Cash Plus that much, but I have really started to use their IPO function to kind of apply for IPO, because IPO in Malaysia actually get pretty good returns, but unfortunately I haven't really gotten any allocation so far, right? And I think I've transferred majority of my I think not majority, all of my Malaysia stock to Mumu, because I think the UI UX for Mumu is much better compared to say Rakuten Trade. So Rakuten Trade, previously I was housing all my Malaysia dividend stocks over there, but now I've started to move to Momo because it's just so much easier. I can see, I can monitor different market. The graph, the data provided from Momo actually is much more user friendly than Interactive Broker. So how I differentiate these two is I'm using Momo to check data, to trade, um, to apply for IPO, right? And Interactive Broker is more of my long-term portfolio. I don't really open Interactive Broker unless I have to. Maybe I only open once a month to see how my stock is doing. But Interactive Broker is just my long term portfolio, where Momo is more of the active trading kind of thing. But the fees, I wouldn't go to the detail. You can check it out online yourself. But I think fees wise, Interactive Broker is much cheaper. But again, it's unregulated. But Momo is also not that expensive. It's relatively affordable compared to the other brokers, traditional broker in Malaysia. So yeah, I think these two is a highly recommended brokers for anyone in Malaysia that you want to buy stocks, ETFs. These two really is the one that I would recommend myself because I'm using it. So another app is actually Stashaway, right? I think Stashaway has been in the Malaysian shore for quite some time. When it first came in, it was quite revolutionary. They have their own robo advisory funds. But I think I purely just use it as a DCA tool for my S&P 500. I think I mentioned in my previous video before how I'm using it, but basically every single week I have deposited 300. I think initially it was much lower, but now every week I'm just pumping 300 ringgit, or sometimes if the market deep I will just put in one lump sum, right? So this is where I put majority of my weekly DCA over in here, S&P 500, and you can see the graph is quite crazy lah, right? It's all these gray lines, all my deposit. So you can see, since 2003 I have been weekly depositing, and the returns have been quite good. But obviously recently market is doing their market thing again, so it has been slight dip, but overall it's still in the positive because S&P 500, it is quite okay, right? Yeah, I think moving on for my next app, I think Luno. So Luno houses majority of my crypto at the moment. It used to be Binance, but I have since moved around to Luno just in case I want to liquidate out easily. So Binance has been banned in Malaysia, although I can still access it. Still have some funds in it, but I wouldn't recommend any beginners to start crypto investing in Binance, because it can be overwhelming and you can kind of see too many coins at it. So you will start gambling. But I think Luno, the UI UX is simple. It's much easier for user to just start investing in crypto. So this is where I house majority of my crypto at the moment. There are some complaints by people where their account get blocked or whatever, but I haven't really gotten any problem so far. Right. So this is where I'm using buying my crypto at the moment. Right. So yes, next category is referral section for investing, right? So I think I have been using Momo for quite some time. Then I really think that the product is actually quite good. The IPO function, especially, some of my friends, my girlfriend, my partner, my friends have been getting the allocation using the IPO function very easily. It's much easier from traditional broker or even like other brokers, right? So I think this is one of the strongest suite, and I think the cash plus function is, although I am not using it at the moment, but I think the cash plus function is also quite sweet, right, where you can put your money in, get 3 to 4% interest, and then when you want to buy a stock, you can straight away get the money from there. You don't have to transfer from another app to another app. So that's another pro point for this. But yeah, so I think they are having generous welcome reward, even though it's not that generous as compared to when they first came into Malaysia. But yeah, so if you deposit 1,000 ringgit, you can get 100 ringgit. That's another 10% return. Obviously, if you're a Tesla fan, you can kind of deposit even more to get extra returns over here. So the link will be down in the description. There's no code. You can utilize the link, so please do. It will help me a lot as well. So yeah, I think the next section is also Luno. So I have been using Luno for quite some time. Then obviously I have leveled up to level 3 customer, where my code, specifically this code, it gets you 75 ringgit in Bitcoin, which is the highest tier in the referral campaign, right? So how it works is you can use my code, and if you sign up and you key in my code and you purchase 250 ringgit through Luno from the buy button, then you can get 75 ringgit. Both you and I can get 75 ringgit. So that's quite a good return over that. Yep, everything is under the link in the description as well. All right, moving on. So I think if you purchase something, if you want to save, if you want to invest, that's important thing in it is tracking, right? So to me, how I track my money, okay, there's no referral here, just saying, right? Just sharing all the apps that I'm using. So tracking category, these 3 apps is the app that I'm using to track all things. So Money Lover is the app that I kind of track every single month how much I'm spending, what are the previous 3 months average. So this requires a lot of discipline to key in every single transaction, but I find these actually work for me at this point of time, where it really show me what are the categories, what are the trending insight, what are the trending report. It will alert me which category is trending up compared to last month, compared to last year, for example. So I think this is an app that I would really recommend. I've been using this for 4 or 5 years now, and I've been tracking my expenditure through this app as well. So I highly recommend it. So the second, not app, but I think there's an app, but like second platform that I'm using to track all my investments, including US, including Hong Kong, including everything, is through Portsedo. So why I like Portsedo is basically they have a very nifty comparison over here, right? So the white line shows the portfolio, and the gray represent S&P 500 returns, right? And the gray, this one represents the cash. The gray area represents the cash deposits. So why I like about this, I can kind of be disciplined, right? I can compare my performance as an investor versus the S&P 500. Am I performing much better than S&P 500? If I'm not performing as good as S&P 500, then what's the point of picking individual stocks, right? So this is where I kind of track all my purchases lah, basically. So happy to say that I am beating the S&P 500 through my stock picks, but again, it's not a lot. It's really hard to beat the market, guys. But again, it's just a fun thing to track, right? And obviously, I'm using CoinGecko to track any crypto. I prefer CoinGecko because I've been using it. It's a Malaysian company. I'm used to the UI UX as well. So yeah, I think these are the 3 apps that I'm using mainly for tracking category. And there's also another category which is travel category, right? So I think recently I have been thinking a lot about like traveling. So when you travel, definitely you want to get the best bang of your buck, right? So I think there's two different cards that I'm actually using from two different apps. So one is the GX Bank GX card. So one thing good about it is obviously the unlimited 1% cashback and also zero markup, right? So basically I can say it's the best travel card out there, as I mentioned in the previous video before, that I will link it up somewhere, right? Then the second choice, right? For example, some countries somehow don't accept GX card. For example, maybe in China, for example, I find it extremely hard to use GX card, but somehow Wise can be accepted. So I've been flip-flopping through these two cards a lot. So Wise, as you can see, it is also a de facto travel card that everyone uses. It can house like a lot of different currency. So maybe I will go to the next slide. So yeah, referral section again, right? So if you can see, I have been using the recent transaction, the recent travel to Guangzhou, where I use the Wise a lot, right? So this is where I house my Malaysia ringgit. Then sometimes I want to buy Australia dollars. I can purchase directly from here for the best returns, the best exchange rate, for example. So I think it really gives me the best return out there. So this is just the two travel card that I'm using at the moment. So obviously there's also a referral link if you want to use it. I will get 50 bucks, 50 pounds, for example, if 3 of you guys sign up. So it's extremely hard to get this, but why you can, if you use my link, you can get 0 fees of your transfer up to 500 pounds, which is around 2.5k ringgit. So it's quite good. So the link is also in the description below. So yeah, this is all the apps, the financial app that I personally use in 2025. Any other apps that I have missed, maybe you guys can comment down in the comment section below. And if you think there's a better investing app out there, do let me know as well. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.